Hi friends, it's Karen. How are you? It's been a while. I have some questions I need to catch up on. So let's start with this one. Someone asked me, how can you deal with a loved one with love and tolerance and respect while still keeping your boundaries? Something like that. And that's a really good question. So you can love someone and have boundaries. It's very hard, especially if you're codependent, because it's like an all or nothing thing, right? We're either going to help you and love you to death, or we're never talking to you again. But there is a happy medium there, right? There is a happy medium where you can love and respect someone and have boundaries and not be affected. Now, what does that mean? What does that look like? That means, of course, every situation is different. This person that asked me the question, I don't know if this is their husband, their wife, their child, their parent, someone at work. I don't know. I don't know if the boundaries are they're living in their home. Like, there's so many situations. So let's go with some general rules of thumb, okay? Like what I tell you, if you are a parent and you have an adult child living in your home is different than if you are in a married situation and you love you're not leaving your wife, but she's drinking too much, right? So there's different things here, and there's different things you're going to tolerate, right? There's no right or wrong here, but there's some tools I can give you so you can start working on this and see what feels right. Okay, so everything has to have a consequence. That's the bummer. That's the hard part, is the consequence. So I can love, okay, let's use a simple example. Let's say I have a sister. I haven't thought this out yet, but let's see how it goes. I have a sister and she is a alcoholic and a drug addict. Let's say she uses meth, right? And she wants to come over to my home. So I love you. And yes, you can come over. If you need to see me, if you need to speak to me, you can come over. But there's no alcohol in my house and there's no drugs in my house. Or maybe I have children. I don't live alone. Then I could say, no, you can't come over because I have children here. But I will meet you at Starbucks if you need to talk to me. Or I will meet you at wherever, Denny's. The Denny's on this street, close to you. I will meet you there, but you cannot come to my house. If I give someone a ride, I'm really particular because I have seen all sorts of shit happen. But if you ask me for a ride, if my sister said, hey, can you drive me to Temecula? You know, I'm supposed to go up there for the weekend and I'm really trying to get better and I really need this ride. Okay, I love you. I will give you a ride. But there are no drugs in my car. There's no open bottles of booze. There's no booze in my car. And there's no drugs in my car. Now, I have done this before with someone who wanted a ride from me. And I gave them a ride and I said, but listen, there are no drugs in my car, period. Now, you know, I'm a recovering alcoholic addict as well. But with all the stuff going on in the world, I don't need any trouble. None. Zero. I don't want any drama in my life. I don't want any trouble. So yes, you want to ride? Great. Get in my car. Do not bring your pot with you. Like, there's no pot in my car. I don't want it. I don't have to have pot in my car. I don't care if you think, like, if you're watching me and you go, well, that seems silly because it's legal now. You know what? I don't care. It's my car. I get to call the shots. That's what I don't think a lot of us realize. You get to decide. It doesn't have to be like, well, so-and-so said, or this said. No. I don't want any drugs in my car. I don't want any pot in my car. If it's legal or not. That's just that's it. Now, my friend got in the car and we went for a ride. I took him to, I had to drive him to he was taking a class, and he told me that he needed to go up and just pick up a paper from, talk about his grade or something with his teacher at this college that was like 45 minutes away. So I drove him out there. I said, but do not take any drugs with you, because I know he's a pothead. And I don't care he's a pothead. I mean, he's a great guy, but don't get it in my car and like get me on the freeway, right, with you. So we get there and he goes in, and he's not picking up a paper from his teacher and discussing his grade. He's taking a class. He left me in the frickin' parking lot for like an hour and a half. I was so mad, and I didn't know a lot about boundaries and stuff. So he got in the car. I drove him back, and like 2 weeks later, I find pot in my car. He left his pipe and his pot in the pocket of my car door on the passenger side. I'm never in the passenger side, so I wasn't over there. And I went to clean my car, and the guy who's cleaning my car goes, "Hey, lady, hey, this is yours." I was furious, right? Now, what do? I didn't give him another ride. He lied to me. So he said, "Hey, can you drive?" No, I'm not driving your ass anywhere. I love you to death, but get a bus. First thing, you lied to me about how long you were going to be in that college, right? You needed a ride to school that day. You didn't need to go pick up some test paper. And two, you brought pot in my car. You're never getting in my car again. I love you to death, but you're not getting in my car. Consequence. You see? Consequence. If someone comes to my house and I say there's no alcohol and drugs in my house, let's say it's my child, I need to say ahead of time, these are the rules of this house. Maybe there are rules of this car. That's what I really think is most important with this conversation. Do you know what your rules are? See, what happens to us is we don't even know what our rules are until they've been broken. We don't know what upsets us and what we're going to put up with until someone's crossed the line. And then you call and you say, "Hey, Karen, what should I do?" I'm going to tell you what to do. Figure this out before it happens. Okay? What are the rules of your car? Write them down. What are the rules of your home? Maybe you live in someone else's home. What are the rules of your room? Right? What are your boundaries? How much will you accept? Let's write that down. Let's do that. I didn't know until I had to start doing this. My life was so chaotic because of everybody else in my life. And I was like, why is this happening? And how do I get rid of it? So and there's a definite law of the universe. It is easier to get into something than out of it. You know what I mean? Whether it's a relationship, or it's easier to get into trouble than to get out of it. Then getting out is harder. So we're going to stop that from happening. Let's do this together. This is your assignment. I want you to write down your boundaries. What are your boundaries in your home? What are your boundaries with your car? What are your boundaries with your body? Like, I have very clear boundaries now. I don't like to be touched. Way pre-pandemic. I was going to a lot of 12-step meetings. I still do, but they're mostly on Zoom now. But when I was going in person, something about being at a 12-step meeting, people thought they get to hug me. And I don't like to be hugged by strangers, only by my family and friends. So I just decided that was not okay with me. Just because I was in AA, NA, Al-Anon, Nar-Anon, you don't get to come up and randomly touch me. And what really made me decide that was someone crossed the line. This man wanted to give me a hug, and he hugged me, but he pulled me too tight. Do you know what I mean? Ugh. So from that point on, I said with my little hand, "I'm sorry, I don't like to be hugged. I'm sorry, please don't touch me." With the hand, like, "I'm sorry," like, stop, like, I'm not kidding, stop. "I'm sorry, I don't like to be touched." And people were like, "Ah!" I don't care. I didn't like it. And now I'm much better with it. You know what I mean? So what is your boundary with that? Does someone get to push you, shove you, at home? If your kid is mad, does he push by you and knock you in your shoulder? Is that okay with you? What is it? Write those things down. How about how people talk to you? Okay, where's your boundary? When someone starts getting abusive with you, where do you draw the line and say, that's it, I'm not listening to this anymore? Do you have a boundary? Let's write these things down. That's your assignment. The next video I have is going to be looking at those and putting those in place in your life. Okay, because once you have boundaries and they're more matter of fact, you're not going to have problems with the love. You can love someone, but these things right here are non-negotiable. And if you don't do these things, this is what happens. That's the part people miss. But a lot of people don't even know what their boundaries are. So let's do that first. I want you to figure out your boundaries. Write down your boundaries. And when you're done on this video, I want you to comment, done. I have my boundaries. If you don't know and you're concerned, like, I don't even know what she's talking about, write that in the comments and I will meet with you directly and we'll talk about this, okay? This is really important, not just with alcoholism and addiction, but every part of your life, right? Maybe even at work. What are your rules for your cubicle? Especially with the pandemic now, what are your boundaries? All right, write them down. Let me know when you're done in the comments and we will do a part 2. All right, good topic.